Philadelphia was about 80 miles east of Smyrna. It was located in a wide valley where the volcanic soil was very fertile, and today the finest grapes in Turkey are grown in this region. Philadelphia was the youngest of the 7 cities of Asia. King Attalus of Pergamum built the city about 150 B.C. Attalus was so devoted to one of his brothers that he was given the title Philadelphus, the one that loves his brother, and that title became the name of his new city. Like Smyrna and Thyatira, Philadelphia is buried under a modern city, and as a result there are fewer antiquities here at Philadelphia than any of the other churches. There's an ancient church honoring John, but that's all. Everything else, including a stadium and theater, are somewhere under the modern buildings of Alashir. The Church of John was built around A.D. 600. Archaeologists are currently doing a little work around the church. They found some of the foundations and walls of earlier buildings that stood on this site before the church was built, but they have not learned what these earlier buildings were. Archaeologists work in squares, usually 5 meters on a side, and here's a square near the wall of John's church. They found a piece of marble in the wall of the square, and it's still there. A column with unusual spiral fluting lies on the bottom of the square. Here and there, fragments of carved marble give us a glimpse of Philadelphia's beauty. The massive walls and arches of the Church of St. John that are still standing show that it was a very large building, much larger than the church at Thyatira. We have now visited 4 of the 7 cities of Asia, and 3 of these have had Byzantine churches built in honor of John: Justinian's great church in Ephesus, then Thyatira, now Philadelphia. It may seem a little strange that all these churches honored John and not Paul. While Paul was at Ephesus, his converts had planted many of these churches. But centuries later, when the churches were free to erect buildings, it was John they chose to honor. John had lived at Ephesus and was buried there. As an old man, he had admonished the church to love one another. And Jesus had chosen John on Patmos to write what you see and send it to the 7 churches. So the churches remembered and honored John. Judging from the Lord's letter to Philadelphia, this must have been the very best of the 7 churches, for Jesus had only praise for them, not a word of rebuke, not one. The church here had kept his word. They had not denied his name, and they had endured patiently. Because of their faithfulness, the Lord had set before them an open door of opportunity for evangelism and for witnessing. And because the church here had kept his word, he promised to keep them from the hour of trial that was coming on the whole earth. There were other promises as well. They would be a pillar in the temple of God, and they would wear Jesus' own new name. Compare these beautiful promises with the Lord's threat to the church in Ephesus. He warned them that unless they repented, he would remove their lampstand out of its place. It took several centuries for this to happen, but when the armies of Islam swept across Asia in the 7th century, Ephesus and the other cities fell, and the Christian faith withered and died. But not in Philadelphia. The city here was the last bastion of the Christian faith in Asia. Long after the other cities fell, Philadelphia remained a free Christian city in the midst of a Muslim world. The church was still enjoying the Lord's promises. But finally, Philadelphia fell in 1391. And today in Asia, where the church was once stronger than anywhere else in the world, the churches lie in ruins and the minarets are everywhere. Sadly, all the 7 lampstands are gone.